And hello, everybody. This is yours truly, Michael Stewart, doing videos on money management tips, handling your everyday expenses. And so, whatever time of the day or evening it is that you are watching this video, I am hoping that you have been having a productive week, a productive day, and that you have been keeping yourself safe. There's a whole lot going on right now with this COVID-19. Don't quite know when this is going to come to its end. But this is our new norm: social distancing, washing our hands more frequently for at least 20 seconds at a time with soap and water, warm water at that, and of course, being cautious of large gatherings. And so I just hope that everybody is doing well mentally as well as physically. So much is on everybody, especially with the way things have been going in terms of jobs. But on the good note, there has been a lot of new job opportunities for those who may have been displaced from their jobs due to COVID. Some that are working remote, finding that they are actually enjoying it. And that's good. That's good. And companies are taking another look at how they are structured. And it is quite possible that some folks will continue to work remotely even after COVID passes. So there are some things on the horizon that are quite encouraging. And so that's a good thing, is when we can see the silver lining around the cloud. There is light at the end of the tunnel, no matter how dim the light might appear to be. There is light at the end of the tunnel. So tonight, I want to kind of do a hands-on with everybody. In my last video on family spending, I highlighted a few things on how to better track your spending, and I mentioned not being afraid of establishing a spending budget. We're not talking about penny pinching when we talk about having a family budget, but we're talking more about being mindful of how you're spending your money, where you are spending your money, on what you're spending your money, and is it really uh, benefiting you? Not saying that you can't have things that you want, but we have to be a little more strategic, especially now with how we handle our money. And so in my last video, I had mentioned that I was going to make available to those who requested it a sample balance sheet. And then, I thought about it. I said, well, that might be a little too intense, because really balance sheets, companies and large corporations use several types of financial documents to track what is going on with their money, to show their profitability, and to show their bottom line net worth, and one of which is the balance sheet. And generally, the balance sheet is done at the end of the year, where they can kind of look back over the previous year and do a comparison with the current year and their spendings, their expenditures, and their profitability margins. And so it kind of does get a bit intense. So I opted to share with you all something not as complex as a balance sheet, but something that can be used if you so desire to learn how to do a balance sheet. This is kind of like the first step going in that direction. Now, what I'm going to show you, I'm going to share my screen here. I do have it up already. I have a sample that I want to use as my talking point. And so what you have in front of you now on your screen, you see a sample cash flow tool. Now, these are hypotheticals. We're going on the basis of a hypothetical family with a two-income earning household, and the numbers, the amounts are projected or estimated amounts. They're not actual amounts, but it's to kind of give you an idea of a tool that you can use to gauge what your money is doing for you. Now, in this scenario, this hypothetical family, just to kind of give you some back history for you as we go along, this is a family that found themselves in some financial straits. And so as you can see, they have four different types of personal loans. Now, some of these loans, like we'll use the example of loan number one. We'll say that that loan is a secured loan. That means that they had to put up some form of collateral in order to secure this loan. So in this instance, we can say that they put up one of their vehicles that they own outright. They have the title to that vehicle. They own it outright, and they put it up as collateral. So it kind of secured the loan. And so the loan amount was for $16,000, and they have a monthly payment of $600. And then the second loan is more like one of those payday loans. Well, no, not exactly, not this one. The second loan is an unsecured loan based on their credit history and their income to debt ratio. Those are the two primary things, really, that lenders look at when they're considering loaning you their money. Is they look at your credit history, they look at your payment history, and they look at your income to debt ratio. So we're going to, for this hypothetical example, we're going to say that loan number two is an unsecured loan that was based on their credit history and their payment history and their income to debt ratio. And so they took out a loan for $12,000 in addition to the secured loan of $16,000. And then this third loan, the third and the fourth loan. Now, this third loan is a second unsecured loan, a second unsecured loan. And so I'm using these as examples in these scenarios to try to mirror instances in life that really do happen to folk. Okay, and it's not strange or bizarre or far-fetched that any given household in America could find themselves in dire straits and have multiple loans trying to get things caught up. Could be because of a unforeseen medical condition. It could be helping out a family member. It could be a number of things. And so in this scenario here with this hypothetical family, they took out a third unsecured loan in the amount of $10,000 with a $400 a month payment. And then this fourth one is the all too familiar, easy to get nowadays payday loans. This is the one where they don't care what your credit score look like. They just want to be able to tell that you can pay it back. So they may ask you for verification of your income, proof of income by sending them a copy or two of your pay stub, giving them access to be able to retrieve your banking information. And generally when they do that, they're looking to see what your last 2 or 3 deposit amounts were like. And so payday loans are very popular. They're only really good for short term. They're not designed for long-term repayment. The longer you take to pay it back, the more money they're gonna make off of you. These tend to have much higher interest rates. I'm talking way up there, beyond 25.99%. I'm talking some of them have interest rates over 300%. Yeah. And so that's why they're only good for short term, why they call them payday loans, because they get you from one payday to the next payday. And then the expectation is that you pay the loan back in full. And that's how you save on having to pay interest. And so some people get caught in the trap. They do. They get caught in the trap and they find themselves paying the minimum, where the majority of the payment goes to the interest that accrues on a daily basis. And a very, very, very small portion of that payment goes towards the principal. And you'll find yourself, if you're like me, I like to keep close tabs on what my money is doing, and I have loans, and so I do monitor my loans very closely. And I like to keep tabs on whether or not that principal balance is going down, and if not, then I know I got to do some extra things. And so a lot of these payday loans, even though they have the disclaimer that you have to read, or, because they're not going to just tell you, you have to read the information to find out that the way the loan is structured, it is for short term, not designed for long term. But some people, they get caught up in the cycle, and it's a vicious repayment cycle when you're paying the bare minimum. So in this scenario with this hypothetical family, they're paying out $1,300 a month for a $45,000 loan debt over the course of maybe 3 to 5 years to pay all this back. And they're putting out $1,300 a month in payments. So I wanted to cover that first, because a lot of households find themselves in this type of a scenario, especially now with COVID. Some still have not yet received their unemployment payments, and then there are others that still have not received a stimulus payment. And so folks are trying to survive. They're doing the best that they can, and they're trying to survive. Then you have those whose jobs were furloughed, and they don't know if they're going to have a job to go back to, and they're trying to survive. They're doing the best that they can. And so they find that they have had to take on part-time work. Some are doing jobs that they don't like doing, but hey, they got to eat, and they got to take care of their families. And so they find themselves in dire straits, trying to maintain the lifestyle that they had when they were gainfully employed. And it's no fun coming home to an eviction notice, or coming home and the lights are turned off, or the gas is turned off, or there's no running water. That's not comfortable, and that's not fun. And so when people realize that, okay, I've got to do something out of anxiety and desperation, they try to secure loans, to get them through that storm, hoping that the storm won't last long. No one could have predicted that we would be in a COVID-19 pandemic lasting this length of time as what we are now experiencing. Then the country is divided on whether or not we should fully open things back up, and then another portion of the country is saying no, not yet, it's too soon. And so it just adds to people's daily stress and frustration. So I'm hoping that you're watching this video, and I'm hoping that you glean something from this that will give you some strategies that you could use if you find yourself, in dire straits. Now, I created this. This is not something that I pulled off the internet anywhere. I actually use this sample cash flow tool myself to track my money, to track my debts, to track my balances, and it also gives me insight as to where I could expedite paying something off, where I can make cuts to give me more disposable income. So it's a good tool. Now, it's the old-fashioned way, yes, it is. I like doing it this way because I'm a hands-on, tactile person. That's how I learn. That's how I retain information. The more engaged and involved that I am in the process, the better chance I have of actually retaining it. And so I tend to err back on the side of old-fashioned, do-it-yourself, write it out yourself. Now, mind you, my banks have programs instilled in their banking systems that kind of does all this already for me. And occasionally I do look at it if I want to track my monthly spending and compare it. If I want to get projections on whether or not I'm spending more than I did the previous month, it'll tell me if I'm trending towards a zero balance before the end of the month. And those are good, useful tools. They are. All of it is good tools. But just for the sake of um, highlighting the benefit of having something like this, like a cash flow tool like this, very easy. I did this in Microsoft Word using their tables set up, and then added a little bit of colors to it to kind of, so that it didn't look too boring. Okay. All right. So let's scroll down a little bit and let's look at this next section. Now, this next section deals with student loans. So this is a family that have college age students or college age children. And in addition to the personal loans, they also had the concern of sending their kids to school, and they're still paying off their student loans. So at this point in their hypothetical scenario, you see that they have two loans. One is a subsidized loan. The other is an unsubsidized loan. These are federal loans provided by the government. This is on the parents. Okay. And so they have a principal balance of about $22,000, and the interest is generally right at about 6%. I think they're running somewhere between 6% and 6.5% now on the loans. Thank goodness that during COVID-19 pandemic, all interest on federally funded student loans have been waived and well, not waived, but has been ceased. So your loan, your principal balance is not accumulating any interest. That's only going to go until the end of December of this year. Come December 31, that stops, and then the interest starts accruing again. So it would, as the old folks would say, it would behoove you to go ahead and make interest payments right now while there is no interest accumulating. So if you have an outstanding interest balance, you want to go ahead and try to get that down as much as possible and start chopping away at that principal balance as well. And so the payments are set up on a monthly basis. And then here you see loan 3 and 4. These are parent plus loans. These are loans that the first year of a college student's tuition costs are going to be funded by a parent plus loan if the student did not qualify or obtain scholarships. The family did not have enough money to pay the tuition outright. Generally, that's going to be part of the financial aid packet, is taking out a parent plus loan. Now, you're taking it out on the behalf of your child. However, the parent is the responsible party for the parent plus loan. It's going to show up on your credit report. It's going to show up on your loan account. And now, after the freshman year, if your child who is approaching adulthood decides that they want to take out more loans, then those would be in their name and their responsibility. So just to kind of give you that heads up, if you're approaching that type of a scenario, you may have a college-bound child or two, and you may have already assessed that you don't have cash on hand to cover all of the costs of them going to college for their first year. And part of the financial aid package may very well be that you must take out a Parent Plus loan to help cover some of the costs. Well, just know that the Parent Plus loans are based on your credit history, your income to debt ratio, your length of credit history, revolving accounts that you have. They look at all of that. All of this is based off of you, and it comes under your name. So in this scenario, this family here has an additional $600 a month that goes towards paying off their student loans. And they have a total balance of $57,000. Now, let's go down to the next category of the cash flow tool. And in this category here, now we take a look at household expenses. These are your everyday monthly expenses, okay? And so this particular scenario, this family, they have a primary home, and then they are also investing in vacation timeshares so that they can take vacations. Vacations are good to do Some folks feel like, man, I wish I could take a vacation. I can't afford to take a vacation. I certainly can relate to that. There was a time when I was in that number. Vacation, for me, vacation was going to a family member's house and eating there and staying there. And that was the vacation, you know. We're in a better place now, and that's a good thing for us. So here you see for their mortgage, they're paying roughly about $1,000 a month on a $156,000 mortgage balance, and then their vacation home, they're paying about $400 a month on a $19,000 property that they are buying into for their vacations. And then we get to their utilities. And here, now these are projected amounts. These are not actual amounts. If you notice, they're all being rounded up to whole dollar amounts. And that's just for examples' sake in these scenarios that I'm using. You can be more detailed if you decide that you want to do something like this, if you want to establish a cash flow tool like this. You can be more specific with it by simply gathering up your bills, looking at what you pay from month to month, and then average it out. You know, you can go online to your utility provider and you can pull up your statements for the whole year, and then you can add all of those numbers up and then divide them by 12, and that will give you a monthly average. And that's a good way to also establish your budget for each utility, is to do that. You know, pull up the statements uh, 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 for the entire previous year, add up what those payments were that you paid, and then divide them by 12, and there you'll have a monthly average that you can begin to set a spending budget by. And so that way now you can track when you're using more of your utilities in any given month. You can track and see, okay, where you need to kind of chill, cut back a little bit, you know. And trust me when I tell you, it is useful to do that. When you are monitoring your money like that, you are showing yourself to be a good steward of your finances, and you're handling your business in a way that you more than likely will not find yourself underneath a rock. Okay. So in this scenario with this hypothetical family, they've estimated their electric bill at $100 a month, their gas bill at $50 a month, their water bill at $50 a month, their sanitation bill at $20 a month. And these uh, estimates on the conservative side, they do fluctuate from month to month, but I did it based on an average so that you can get the idea. And then their cable and Wi-Fi. Now you and I both know, especially if you're if you're using Cox cable, could be quite expensive unless you know how to negotiate them down. Every 6 months, I negotiate them down. I'm not going to put out that kind of money on a monthly basis. And then you got a lot of programs now where you can, you know, you don't have to have cable, and you know, you got programs out there where you can watch just virtually every program that comes on TV, uh, and paying minimum cost to do so. And so there's a lot of competition in the market right now, and that's why they will lower your bill if they suspect that they're going to lose you as a customer. They'll lower that bill. And then your pest termite control. Generally, your pest termite control, if you're a homeowner and you've opted to utilize the pest termite control company that came out and did your initial inspection for you for termites and pests, if you opt to continue utilizing them, they generally put you on a quarterly calendar schedule where they will come out every 3 months and provide you ongoing control service. And so they generally ranges anywhere from $75 to $100 every 3 months, not every month, but every 3 months. So what I did was for this scenario example is I assumed that this family was paying $90 every 3 months. So on a monthly basis, so they knew what to set aside. it comes out to $30 a month. And so that's what these balances reflect. Now, when you're doing this type of a cash flow tool, when you're using this type of a cash flow tool, this gives you the flexibility of being able to change your balances as payments are being made. So if you're paid bi-weekly after you've made payments and you've confirmed your new balances, then you update this area right here. And let me tell you, um, they may be small numbers in terms of decreasing the overall balance amount, but celebrate that. Feel good about that number is going down, that you're chopping away at that number. As I'm flickering around this here number of 175,450, even if it just went down $50, celebrate that, because that's saying that you're moving in the right direction. Okay. So they're putting out another $1,850 a month. Now, let me go back up. I hope that I'm not going too fast for you. So let me slow down just a little bit. I just don't want to sound boring, okay? Because when we're talking about money, it can be boring for most people, okay? It's really not exciting unless you enjoy manipulating and managing money, okay? So notice up here with the loans, they were putting out $1,300 a month. And then with their student loans, they were putting out another $600 a month. And now we're down to the household expenses, and they're putting out about $1,850 a month. Now, I know some people, that's a rent payment for some people, and that's just steep. If you're paying that or near that in rent, I encourage you to look at what will it take for you to buy a house, because you can certainly be a homeowner and pay less than this bottom line figure of $1,850 in the mortgage payments. You can pay less than that as a homeowner. If you know, now this is everything here. So now let's go down to this next category, and I call it the miscellaneous category, because these are the other incidental things. They're important as well. Like here for auto insurance. Now, in this scenario, they have two vehicles, so they've got that vehicle, both vehicles are covered, and that's because they bundled. Okay, they bundled, and this is a way to save as well. They bundled their insurance, so they got their auto insurance and their life insurance and their homeowners insurance all under the same roof from the same insurance provider, and so it offered them a great deal of discounts, and so they saved considerably on their automobile insurance rate at $100 a month for both vehicles. And so then their life insurance is $200 a month. Health insurance is $700 a month. Health insurance is costly. If you go through the marketplace, you may qualify for what they call the advanced premium tax credits. All depends on your income level and your household size. Without it, insurance is expensive. I think for an individual, I was doing some research and exploring different options. And for just an individual with a very, very basic HMO plan, it was anywhere from $700 to $1,200 a month for an individual. I mean, that's just crazy. That's crazy. Really, really hope that they do something with this new administration that's coming in terms of healthcare coverage. The middle class is hurting. Uh, and that's not to say nobody else is hurting, but the middle class is getting hit very, very hard, because you fall in an income bracket as a middle class earner where you make too much to get any type of state assistance, and then you don't make enough to benefit from the programs that are out there because you're beyond their threshold. It's just crazy. So it's just real tough for a lot of people. So in this scenario here with the insurances, and then their car payment on the new vehicle, which is valued at $26,000, that's the balance on the car. And then there's cell phones for the family members, all in one package or one account. They're paying $100 a month. You got cell phone service providers that are offering 3 and 4 lines for $100, $125 a month. Take advantage of those deals. It'll save you money in the long run. All right, so they're putting out another $1,600 a month, and in this category, they're looking at a $27,100 balance in that category. All right, so let's go down a little bit further. Now let's explain this cash flow tool, and it's set up on a monthly basis. Now, monthly in terms of how the members who are income earners receive their pay. So you may be paid weekly. You can do this on a weekly basis. If you're paid bi-weekly, if you're paid bi-monthly, or if you're paid monthly, however you are paid, however your money comes in, you can structure this cash flow tool based on how you receive your pay, how your bills are paid. Okay. So in this scenario, this two income earning household brings in a net take home pay of about $6,000 a month. That's what they got working for them. $6,000 a month. Now, this is after, of course, Uncle Sam takes his portion, because you know he's going to get his right up front. Okay. And so I don't want to be, overly complex with explanations and going into the percentages of what your FICA tax is, your Social Security tax, your Medicare tax, how is it based on your income, what portion of the income. Not going to get into all of that. I just want to give you a very basic snapshot of how this tool can be useful. And if you're like me, if you are a tactile person, if you are a hands-on person, then you'll appreciate developing something like this that you can manage and you can manipulate on a weekly, bi-weekly, bi-monthly, or monthly basis. You'll appreciate it, because the more that you do it, the more insight you're going to gain from the tool on what you can do to restructure how your money comes in, and how your money goes out. So in this scenario with this hypothetical family, this is their take-home pay. This is after all of their deductions that generally come out before they cash the check. Okay, this is their take-home pay. So they have $6,000 a month to work with. And so now we take a look again back at what those expenses were that they were responsible for. So for their home, their vacation, their utilities, entertainment. And so when we add all of those expenditures up, it came out to $5,850. Now, some people, especially if you don't use something like this, and you may feel like, oh, I'm good, I'm okay. I know that after everything is paid, I still got some money in my pocket, and I'm okay with that. And that's fine. That's fine. I'm not saying that you're doing anything wrong. Certainly you're not, if you still got a few dollars in your pocket after you've taken care of everything. That is a good thing. But this tool kind of just helps you really hone in on where your money's going, and you can just do a lot more structuring when you can see it in front of you, as opposed to trying to remember and recall. As I age, I tend not to commit too much to memory. I like it written out where I can see it, I can put my eyes on it, and I can meditate on it. I can review it. I can analyze it. That works for me. Now it may be different for you, and that's fine. But for those of us who would like to see it on paper, this is a great way to do it. Very simple, easy to do. And so we see here that they put out about $5,850 a month, covering their necessary expenditures, right? And then what's left over is what is called disposable income. And so what we see left over after they have taken care of their essentials, they still have $150 a month as disposable income. Now, that's money to do with whatever they want, whatever you want, you know. And sometimes people don't see it because they don't have a way of tracking it. They know that they had it, but they don't have a way of tracking it. They don't have a way of tracking whether or not it is increasing or decreasing over time. They you know, they don't have a way of tracking it because they've not done something like this. They just know that after I paid everything, I got a few dollars left, so I'm going to splurge. I'm going to go buy me something. I'm going to go somewhere, you know, and that's fine. But this really helps. You know, having a tool like this really helps you to be able to now start reassessing, what do I want to do with that disposable income that I now have after I've taken care of everything. And so rather than just spend it, because, you know, once it's spent, it's gone. And sometimes, you know, you just don't know when life's going to throw you a curveball that's going to call for some money. You just don't know. So that would make for a good savings program. And not having, I'm not saying to take the whole $150 and put it into a traditional savings account, but at $150 a month, you can certainly put that towards a mutual fund or a money market, or some interest bearing product that it starts accumulating money for you. Even if you took half of that, if you took $75 of that. I know one of the credit unions that I belong to, they have a program where you can invest in mutual funds for as little as $25. You know, $25. You know, and so the more the better, right? And so it just gives you more options of what you can do when you know now that on an average I have this left over at the end of each month after I've taken care of all of my obligations. Now, what do I want to do with it? You know, if you're thinking along the lines of, how do I increase my bottom line? How do I make myself more profitable? How do I keep more of what I make? You know, once you start seeing where your money is going, you can start looking at, okay, there's some things I can do. Now, keep in mind, let's take a look again. This $150 that's disposable income. What if we took $75 a month of that, right? Here's an example. We took $75 a month of that and started putting it towards these loans. Now, the way I would approach it, I'm not saying that you have to approach it this way, but if I know that at the end of the month, I've got $150 of disposable income that I can do with whatever I desire, and if I'm wanting to expedite paying these loans off, I'm going to tackle the smallest one first. I'm going to tackle the smallest one. So I'm already putting out this amount, right? So what if I took $75 and added it to this personal loan number 4, which was that short-term payday loan that has the 300% interest rate that accrues daily, right? So what if I put that to this amount? How much quicker would I get this $3,000 paid off? Because if I make the regular minimum $200 payment, right, and then I put an additional $75 to it towards the principal, I expedite paying this off. Now, here's the key, and this is a way to get your debts down rather quick. So you know that you've got that $150 at the end of the month. Take $75 of that, right? And this family says they applied it to this here, and they expedited eliminating this $3,000 debt. Just to give you you know, so then once they got this paid off, right? you were already paying $400 a month to your third loan, $100 a month to your second loan, $600 a month to your first loan, right? So let's just move up. Now let's take that $275, right, and add it to this $400 a month on this $10,000 debt. So now you're paying on this debt here $675 a month. You're still paying out what you have already been paying out with an additional $75 from your disposable, right? But now you expedite paying this loan off, where this loan at this rate of payment monthly would have taken you roughly about 3.5 to 5 years. You can expedite getting it paid off in maybe 2.5, 3 years, right? And then once you get that paid off, remember, you're already making these payments. Now you take that $675 a month and add it to this $100 a month. You now are making a $775 a month payment on this loan that is spread out over 5 years. You can expedite getting this paid off in probably half the time, right? And then once you've done that, again, remember, you are already making this payment. You take that $775 and add it to this 600, and now you're making a $1,375 a month payment on this $16,000 loan that was spread out over 5 years. And now what happens? You expedite getting this loan paid off until ultimately you're running zero balances. And I would show that on here, as is happening, so that I can celebrate it. And that's just a way of accelerating paying off those loans, and getting them out of the way. Then now you're looking at $1,775 a month that help to expedite that final personal loan. What if we took that $1,775 a month and started doing the same thing with your student loans? They spread out student loan payments over 320 plus months. That's a lifetime. That's how they want you to pay it. That's how they want you to pay it. You would have paid so much in interest if you followed their payment schedule, because a bare minimum goes towards the principal, while the bulk of the payment goes towards the interest. So if we took that same $1,775 a month and started now adding that to one of these student loans, that'll get this paid off in about 4 months, right? And then we take that 100 and that 1,775, which becomes 1,875, added to this 100, and now becomes $1,975. And we get this one paid off in about maybe 4.5, 5 months, right? And then we're going to add that 1,975 to this 200. We're already up now in over $2,000 a month on this $22,000 loan. Or we can split it, right, and apply it to both of them and simultaneously pay these off in rather quickly as well. So there's a strategy when you can see what you're working with. You can come up with a strategy, and you're not reaching out of the air trying to figure out, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? There's something about when you put it on paper and you put it in front of you where you can see it on a daily basis, the wheels start turning, and you start coming up with some workable strategies on how to expeditiously eliminate those debts. And the more money that you can free up, the more money you'll have available to start investing and building generational wealth. And so I want to end by just going over the recommended budget percentages. Remember when I was talking about uh, a spending budget, um, and not penny pinching, but a spending budget? Well, many financial experts recommend splitting up your budget by these percentages. So in terms of, now that's not to say that this is etched in stone and you absolutely have to follow these percentages. This is just a guiding place. This is a good starting place. So basically what you do is you take a look at your your net income, right? And we said, let me see, I went by it. This person's take home pay from all of the income earners in the household was about $6,000 a month, right? So at $6,000 a month, you're looking at housing is 25% of that. So when we're talking about 25% of 6,000, then what this is saying is that what you should be able to comfortably afford for housing is $1,500 a month. Now that's everything. That's rent, that's utilities, everything that's associated with the house, your renter's insurance, if you're buying, that's your mortgage, your homeowner's insurance, your real estate and property taxes are all part of your mortgage payment. So that's already factored in. Your homeowner's insurance is factored in there as well, because and that portion goes into escrow so they can pay it on your behalf, right? And it also covers your utilities. So for $1,500 a month. So now you sit down and you say, okay, I may very well be paying more than 25% of my take home pay in housing when I sit down and I really add up now everything that's associated with keeping a roof over my head, right? So that's 25% is going to be fully absorbed, then that means that somewhere else is probably going to be a lower percentage. And that's okay, so long as you know how your money is working for you and what it is accomplishing for you, and that it is doing it efficiently, right? So they say that these are the general percentages that you would want to use to establish your household budget spending. For insurance, 10% of your income, food 10%, transportation is 10%, utilities is 10%, savings is 10%, entertainment, anything that's fun is 10%, clothing 5%, and then miscellaneous 10%. Okay, and so you're not bound to those percentages. Certainly, if you don't, follow them precisely, no one's going to come and put you in financial jail because you didn't stick to the percentage amounts. But it's a good starting place to gauge, you know, how your money is being dispersed. Okay, so that's pretty much it in a nutshell. What I wanted to share with you today. I'll scroll back up just so that you can see again. Um, Very easy to set up. If you want, I can even send this to you as a template, and then all you got to do is plug in your own categories and amounts and frequencies of pays and balances. That way you don't have to, create it from scratch. Um, it's very easy to do, but if you would like to have this as a template, then certainly uh, reach out to me, either DM me. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel, then certainly do click the like button. That helps with the algorithms. And if you haven't already, I ask that you do subscribe to my page and click on the bell so that you can be notified when I load more content. But leave me a comment if you're watching this on my YouTube channel. Leave me a comment. Simply send me the cash flow to template. Send me the cash flow to template. And I'll reply back, and then we'll make arrangements for you to safely share your how you want me to send it to you, whether it's email or whatever. Okay. If you are watching this video on my Facebook page, then in the comment section, do the same thing, if you would. Certainly do click on the like, the thumbs up, and then in the comment section, just simply state, send me the cash flow tool template. Send me the cash flow tool template, and I will get that out to you as well. I'll reply back, and then we'll come up with the safest way that I can get this to you without you having to expose too much of your identifying information. And I'll be happy to send it to you. And then you can use it as a template, and you save it on into a folder that you create for yourself, or put it on your desktop or wherever, and you can have it readily accessible to you. So it's been my pleasure to share this information with you. I hope that you've gotten something out of today's video. It was a brief one on how to create and utilize a cash flow tool to better track how your money is being dispersed, and showing whether or not you have a disposable income that is a positive that can be utilized to help expedite paying off some debts or loans. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. Look forward to doing my next video. I think I'm going to hold off on the balance sheet because, like I said, that is a lot more in-depth and it's intense. And so I don't want to belabor those who are not interested in a balance sheet or how to do one, or let alone utilize one. But I do want to continue sharing these money management tips with you. So not sure just yet what the next video is going to be, but I'll probably put that on my Facebook page at some point. I think I wanted to take a look at the inflation because that's another thing that is affecting us as well. With all that's going on, is the rate at which inflation is hit versus pay raises. Some folks aren't getting pay raises, but inflation is still happening. So I'll probably do a very brief one on the gross product and what have you. Okay, so that's it for tonight. Thank you for watching, and do share this with others that might benefit from it. And don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to click on the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening. This is Michael Stewart signing off. Take care. Blessings and peace to you.